little bit more sturdy. That way I don't have to worry about it. I trust bolts, but I trust my welding a little bit better. Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Caleb Morrison. This is Caleb's Diesel and Fabrication. If you like fabricating stuff, if you like working on diesel vehicles, this is a great place to be because we're going to do it all. All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. So this is, I guess you could be saying, the official first start of Ryan's truck build here on the old 90 model. What do you call it? R30? It was an R30.
K30.
It's a K30, but it was a two-wheel drive. Now it's obviously a four-wheel drive. So we're gonna start on this thing. We got the new lift installed literally just today, so we can be getting this thing in the air and start tearing it apart. So this is the last time you're gonna see it looking like this. This thing's gonna be blown apart. The bed's coming off. The whole front end's coming off. Both the axles are coming out. There's nothing underneath this suspension-wise is going to look like this. It's going to be completely changed. So I can't wait. Having this lift is going to make this so much easier. We're getting ready to pull this thing completely apart. So I'm excited. I know Ryan's excited to get started on it. This is kind of the journey from day one, I guess you could say. And we're back here in what I call YouTube corner, or Caleb's YouTube corner. So this is a dedicated space for videos and all the content we're putting out here. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Tune in and like and subscribe for the video because there's going to be a lot going on with this thing.
All right, it's like Christmas. You know it's going to be good. Oh, it's got this name on it. ORD, baby. Ready to go for the crew cab.
Need anything else with this thing? Ryan?
I think so. And the axle is out. Caleb's over here doing some cutting all the brackets. Getting all that stuff out of the way.
Hey guys, back in the shop. So been working on Ryan's truck a little bit yesterday, and I'm sure he probably will be back over here pretty soon. He's got to make a run to Harbor Freight and get a couple of supplies for clearing off his axle. But today's Saturday, and what that means is no one is here at the shop. Doors are open, the north breeze is blowing through, and got my phone turned on silent, got the music getting ready to be cranked up, although YouTube doesn't like playing my music because it's supposedly a bad thing for the music rights, whatever. So I got the lights on, the music will be turned up, and I'll be cramming some things into the truck and cramming some things out. So one thing I'm gonna do, so getting back from Full Size Invasion, I had such a dang good time. Like, it was just an awesome group of people. If you're on the fence about going, by the way, just get your truck ready, whatever you have, and get to Full Size Invasion so you can be with all these awesome people that want to be there, want to help. I mean, I think we had a group of 35. We're missing some, but man, I'm just hooked. I can't wait to go back with those guys. Just super good dudes, gals that were there. We had a good time. And so the great thing about Full Size Invasion is everybody, it kind of pulls together, and if there's an issue or a problem, everybody takes care of everybody. So we wait on each other, take care of stuff, fix the trucks, you know, whatever rig you have, we're gonna make sure you're not left behind. So anyways, the other thing that I liked about going is I was able to test my truck out and really find out if all the hard work I put into it was worth, you know, all the time that I put into it, and all those products that I've spent money on because I've heard they're good, really did work out good. I really can't complain. Like, I end up using my Warn winch, which I'm glad I went with the bigger 12S winch. I used it 3 times during the trip, not for me, but for other people, and I was so glad I had it. It was an awesome tool. I used my Premier Power Welder. It did freaking awesome. I was able to help weld up a drive shaft while we were there. If you follow me on Instagram, Caleb underscore Morrison 3, you'll see that I was able to sleeve a drive shaft that broke on the trail for a fellow wheeler, and we got that thing back in action. And me and Ryan got that thing true enough, and Brad helped us as well. You know, we got it true enough that the guy was able to drive pretty much back to town up till 50 mile an hour, and it didn't have any vibration. So I was pretty proud of the skills we put on at Full Size Invasion for fixing the drive shaft. Got it pretty straight. Now, I'm no drive shaft pro, but I was able to use some 7018 off my Premier Power Welder. Got that thing welded up, so that worked out great. My Yukon axle shafts did good. I broke a short side stub shaft on my driver's side while I was there, but it was because I put it in a bad spot, so that was on me. Also, I had a fan relay go out for my cooling fans, which not a big deal, but for some reason it went out, so replaced that. I had that in my electrical bag that I keep on my truck at all times. Got that replaced, and we never had any issues. You know, the vintage air worked in the truck great because it was kind of hot during Full Size Invasion, so that's one thing I'm so glad I put on this thing is the vintage air, because it worked awesome. It was phenomenal for that heat. Another thing is the ARB air lockers killed it. Didn't have any issues out of them. I think they're just supreme in my opinion. They worked great, even though you see a lot of haters out there. We got to meet Rory from Trail Mater and Sean, and those guys are super cool. And they were like, you know, getting ready to go on a recovery supposedly out west of town, and he's like, you got ARBs in your truck? And I was like, yeah. He said, you know what those stand for, right? And I'm like, no. He said, already broken. So, oh well, you know, everybody has an opinion, but they worked great for me while I was there. I got the Pro Comp Extreme MT2s, and I really cannot say they did bad, guys. They killed it. They didn't actually get tore up. They didn't have any chunks fall off like some of the other tires on the market that are kind of cheap. So I really can't complain. You know, there's some things I want to change while I was there. So on this truck currently I have like a 2400 RPM stall for the transmission. So I thought that would kind of fit my needs, but I think I'm gonna, and actually already ordered it from Maximum Transmissions. I ordered a 2000 stall, which is what this 6.2 would have came with factory, was a 1800 to 2000 stall. So I got that ordered. But one thing I also did is on Metal Masher, the last day, there was a obstacle on the very top that I ended up getting bellied out on. And what I mean by that is the truck went up and it hit. I got over the first ledge, and there was a second ledge, and my cross member here got hit on the bottom, and all the way to the truck itself went on the cross member. So what I'm gonna do, I noticed when I got back, is I had a little bit of a dent in the bottom side of the fender well, where the cross member and transfer case kind of picked up a little bit. Well, it actually bent that cross member. That cross member is quarter wall 2x2 square tubing that is heavily braced. I mean, very, very braced very well. But I'm gonna guess my truck, I still need to go down and weigh it. It weighs around 6,000 pounds. So it, all the way to the truck, whenever I bellied out on that rock, completely fell down on the cross member, and it bent it just a little bit, maybe quarter inch up, but the truck did fine. It still had no issues after that, and honestly it did really good. So I did that when I broke the axle shaft when I came back down, so it's no big deal. I'm gonna get that fixed. I'm gonna take that cross member out and replace it. I'm gonna look at a couple different ways. I think I'm gonna try to get my truck up a little higher to get a little bit more height for my belly pan here. So I'm probably going to extend my shock mount tabs on my axle a little bit, just to get some more height out of it. I'm gonna do that on the front and the back. Probably in the front, I'm probably gonna move my tabs on my shock hoops down, which if you look up in here, you can kind of see they are off to the side right now, which moving them, I think moving them down is gonna move my coilover a little closer to the steering here, but it's not going to be a big deal. But it's going to allow me to have more travel down. It's going to bring my belly up of my truck. I need about 1.5 inches. That's what I feel like. And if you guys have noticed on some of my videos wheeling this truck, it sets low, which I love the low center of gravity, and I really think that it helped me when I did Pritchett Canyon not flip over because I have a low center of gravity. And another thing is I did plate this frame on the inside to box it in with 3/8 checker plate all the way from front to back. I mean, I gusseted this thing because I didn't want it to flex all the way. And some of you might say that's overkill, but that's how I do everything, is I am an overkill type of guy. So I welded it. I went through, 35 pounds of 7018, two 30-pound rolls of MIG wire through the miller, and it did great. So didn't have any problems with that. It was plenty stiff. It worked great. But I think I'm going to move those shock tabs down a little bit. I'm going to the 2,000 RPM stall for my maximum transmission. I think I'm gonna maybe play with the fans. It kept getting a little warm under the hood, more than I would like. I think on the trail, I'm gonna try to make these cooling fans reverse so I can flip a switch and make them push the air out instead of pulling it from the front to the back. I think that'll really, really help. I think it'll, in my opinion, I think it's going to help it keep the temps under the hood down. I could be wrong, but I'm at least going to try that and see what happens. So today I'm just going to work on getting underneath here and taking off the belly pan, taking out my drive shafts, and trying to get ready and prepped so I can work on replacing this cross member right here that obviously you can tell is a little bent, but I'm gonna have to redo that. So what's great about this redo work is I'm able to kind of work on my the design here. So I might end up making this piece right here all fit together flat. So hey guys, I'm back at it. A lot has happened and perspired since the beginning of this video. So one thing I got done is got the transmission out. Transmission as a whole, Magnum from Off-Road Design, and the Ford MP205. So one thing that I'm doing is I am taking this torque motor out. It's like a 2400 stall, and I'm putting a 2000, actually I think it's a 2600, putting a 2000 stall in it, and I think it's going to help it a bunch. I'm also, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and replace transmission fluid. Got my maximum transmission. Thing did great in Moab. It's been awesome. I think I'm going to change out these fittings. We got what they call a 6AN. I think I'm going to go to an 8AN, which is what this is, and make it a little bigger so maybe it'll flow a little bit better. I don't think it'll help it a ton, but it can't hurt it. Also, go get a light, probably going to seal up on the transmission itself. I'm probably going to seal up the trans pan one more time. It seemed like I had just a little faint drip there, but just change the fluid out, do once over on it. So I'll show you, I got it all the way out. You can see I got my short tube there, got my long tube header on this side. It turned out pretty good. I mean, it went well. Got my ratchet strap holding up the oil pan just in case, so I'm not wearing out the rubber motor mounts, just sitting here hanging on the side of the lift here. I'm probably gonna go through here, guys, and I'm gonna put some sound deadener and also some shielding like I did here on the inside of this cab. Not that it was super hot during full-size invasion, but I think it'll help it a ton, just that it's just a little bit more protected from the heat, because I've got the lizard skin and the bed liner inside of there, and it works pretty good, but I also want to give it every chance I can. And so I'm not disappointed. You can see that's more of where I plated the frame. You guys can see that's where my holes for my cross member is, so I can bolt that in. It came out pretty easy. Okay, so I'll show you over here the cross member itself. So this is the cross member. It holds the whole weight of the transmission, transfer case, and Magnum up. And so you can see, if you maybe tilt it up and look at it, just how bent it is. So if you look straight down at it, you can see it's pretty bent. So what happened was, when I went up on that rock on Metal Masher, I came down on it. Whenever I broke the stub shaft, I backed up and came down, and it bellied out or turtled out on that rock. Bam! The whole weight of the truck. It actually threw one of my defrost vent covers up in the windshield because it hit so hard. But that's why it bent this 1/4 inch 2x2 tubing. So I guess I'm gonna get to redo that and make it straight again. It'll be a lot better off and a lot stronger. You know, just trying to give this thing every chance I can, make it tougher. And you know, this is probably the 5th time I've had this transmission transfer case Magnum out, but it's been for various reasons, not necessarily anybody's fault, but my own. And that's part of having a project, is you're just having to deal with things like that. So also I'm going to work on this pinion guard. When I build this cross member, I'm going to work on this pinion guard. So what my goal is here, I'm going to try to make a little piece of plate, which I'll show you here. I'm going to try to go from right here, and then I'm going to bend a piece of plate. I'll put 3 holes in it total, and I'm going to bend a piece of plate going up and hook into this truss right here around these lines. And I think what that'll do is it'll help with the rigidity of the truss. The TMR truss that Ryan got already has that piece that goes from here to here that bolts in, but I think it's going to be good to go ahead and add it to mine. It'll be just as strong. You know, I mean, I already got the pinion guard, and oh, look that nut's a little bit loose. See, this is just stuff you got to do, like whenever you're coming back from a trip, is tighten this stuff up and check it all out. It's good to give it a once over, you know. It just looks kind of weird with nothing up in there. You guys can tell, like, I know during my build, if you've been following, you could see how I tried to tuck everything up. This is actually a piece that I cut out and raised up so I could get the Magnum and the 205 to go farther up in the frame rails, because this is a K20, and a K20 frame widthwise from here to here is about 1.5 inches shorter. So I wanted to get it as close as I could tucked up inside of here. So I got about 1.5 inches, maybe just a hair more of clearance up into the cab, which doesn't help the inside amount of the cab in the room. It kind of makes that single cab super small, but it helped my clearance. And what I'm also working on is putting some bigger ears. So like right here where my shock tab or my coilover tabs are, what I'm going to try to do, and we'll see how this works, is I'm going to cut these off and I'm going to raise these about 2 inches total and make this coil taller, and that will push my axle down farther, which will give me a little bit more ride height, which is what I'm going after. I could adjust the coilovers up or down a little bit, but I don't want to do that, because the more you adjust those down past where they're at now, it just makes the ride so much rougher. And I love the way these coilovers ride. I don't know if you guys are ridden in a vehicle as coilovers, but it's life-changing. It's smooth. It goes over rocks and just soaks them up. Gravel roads are nothing. So I got a lot of work to do. I know you guys think that's a common theme, but with a project like this, I'm just going to keep making it better so it can be the best truck it can be, and we can keep going out and just dominating stuff. So I'm really excited. Hopefully my torque converter shows up quick. I like to put all that back in there, but in the meantime, while we wait, we can tidy some things up, put some sound deadener in there, also some heat shield, and make that a lot better off. I'm super excited about that. We're gonna get this cross member built and all these tabs on there. We'll see, I might redesign it a little bit where it's on the outside, it looks a little nicer. I mean, shoot, we got nothing but time, right? I'm ready for the next wheeling trip, but I gotta get going, so tune in there, guys. Over the past 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was able to, after work, we've been super busy in the shop, I was able to work on my truck. So I'll kind of give you a rundown of what I've been doing since I got back from Moab. Some of the things that I wanted to change as I got back from Moab that I not necessarily performed bad, but just that I would, you know, as you're running it, I figured out it needs this and that. So the first thing that I would say is it did really, really well. It did everything that I wanted it to do, and I'm actually super happy with it. So we went up Metal Masher on the last day, and there's an obstacle called Rock Chucker at the top. If you want to go look it up on YouTube, you can. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty technical spot where, you know, you got to pick the right line. And there was only one person in our group, of course. Stephen Watson just made it look like it was child's play, went right up it. And so, you know, I had to try the same line, obviously, just because. And so I tried it and didn't make it. I went up and broke a stub shaft. The good news with that is I have a lot of room to improve my design. So the main thing that I found in watching that video and driving it and everything, I noticed that my belly of the truck wasn't high enough to get over that rock ledge that it was on. So if you go back and watch some of my video, you can see where it was kind of like turtled out on the rock. And I can also tell you by looking at some of the damage that I got from that obstacle that I need to be a little taller. So this is the cross member for the truck. And if you look, it's kind of hard to tell on video, I guess. But if you look, it's bent about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch up in the very middle. And what this does is it hooks up to the frame rails right here on the sides, on both sides, and then that holds up the transmission right here, and then this is the Magnum box as well. And so this is kind of the main 1/4 inch, hey honey, what are you doing? Main 1/4 inch cross member for the truck. So it holds up a lot of weight and it keeps everything going. The skid plate is also attached to it. So it bent that pretty good. You know, of course, the whole weight of the truck was down on that piece of 1/4 inch 2x2 tubing, which, I mean, it did pretty good. It didn't break. I was still able to drive the truck just fine. I mean, it's tough. So I thought, okay, how can I fix that? What can I do to get this thing a little bit higher? So what I did was, instead of cutting the shock mount tabs off of my hoops in the back, is I just took the shock mount off of the back axle, and I put longer ones that I bought on the front, and then I just made some 1/2 inch plate shock mounts for the rear out of some 1/2 inch plate. So one thing that I'm going to do, I did tie this in right here, both these 1/2 inch pieces together, and I did weld it to the axle tube, but I also am going to put a little gusset from here down to here, and that's going to help with the back and forth, which, you know, I don't know if you guys have kind of seen what coilovers do, but whenever you've got high speed and things are moving, this is how it's attached. And so the more you can brace this up, the better, which, like I said, I did it in the front and the back. It's kind of hard to see, but I got a piece right there as well. So it's going to help it be more rigid, and also me bringing those shock tabs up means that it's going to bring the shock or the whole truck up itself and gain me some more ground clearance, which is what I'm after. So not much, but you can tell here on the front I did the same thing, but instead of doing anything down here at the bottom, I actually made the shock tabs taller up top. So this is about 3 inches total. I still got to put a gusset in here. I'm going to do some of that today, from here to here, tie these together, and then I'm going to do a gusset from here to here as well on both sides. And that's just going to give me a little bit extra insurance that it's not going to break, because you guys already know I'm going to drive this thing, because I built it tough and I'm going to drive it. So also I got to trim this a little bit on both sides, put a gusset in here, and then I'm probably going to do a gusset from here to here and here to here as well. So it's going to be pretty sweet. Also, I had to cut out where my bump pad was hitting. That's another reason that I wanted to go up with my truck just a little bit on the ride height, is whenever I would just barely hit a bump, my bump stops were hitting. The reason I have the bump stops set so low is because my fenders, they are just, you know, taller in this one spot, and I didn't cut them out far enough that I probably should have went a little bit higher, but I wanted to keep this thing low, guys. My goal is not for it to be 12 million miles tall so it runs and works better, the lower center of gravity. I really think in Moab, having the lower center of gravity 98% of the time helped me, and it actually did me well, instead of, you know, the one obstacle that I had trouble on. So I'm not really going for a drastic change here. I'm just going for a little bit of clearance on the belly itself. So another thing during the trip, especially when I did the hot tub, is I needed a little bit more wheel speed. So I've got the 4L80, which here it is on the ground. I got it pulled out. 4L80, the Magnum box. And then I also have the 205, the Ford MP205 behind it, twin stick. So this thing worked really good. This is a maximum transmission. It did awesome. These guys are so good with their customer service. Chris is awesome. I really enjoy talking to him. He's knowledgeable about everything about these transmissions. They've been doing it for years. So thanks, Chris, for taking care of me and helping me out and giving me good advice. So I put a 2400 to 2600 stall converter in my transmission, which you know, it's kind of controversial. You'll read tons of stuff on forums about a good high stall and, you know, what's good for this, what's good for that. Well, this truck, having the 6.2 LS from the factory, came with a 1800 to 2000 stall, depending on the year. And then also it's a heavy duty torque converter, obviously, because it's the 4L80, so it's 1 ton or 3/4 ton. So what I did is I'm gonna go from 24 to 26, which it's a smaller converter, which spins a little bit faster. I'm gonna go from that because I needed a little bit more wheel speed, especially like on the hot tub. And I didn't know this until I got out there and tested it. It didn't do bad. It just didn't do exactly what I wanted to do. And it was heating up a little bit faster than I would like because of the smaller converter. So I called Chris at Maximum Transmissions and had him send me this heavy duty torque converter. It's a Transtar, and it is a 2000 stall. So I'm going to be putting that in there, and I'm hoping that it's going to help my heat out, and also I hope that it's going to help my wheel speed. I'm excited to see what it'll do for my power down low and right off the bat. This thing has a hellacious 2 to 1 ratio, and whenever you get it in low, it is just awesome. So I'm excited. I got that going on. I still have to build this cross member right here. I got to redo it. So it's going to take some doing. I just haven't got to that point yet. But I'm trying to get some of these things knocked off the list today. Also, we're going to be jumping around a little bit on video and then also on what we're doing here. So one thing I really enjoy doing is welding. It's one of my favorite things. It's kind of therapeutic. Some guys get out there and mow their yard. Some guys get out there and shoot guns, which those are good things, and I enjoy those too, but I really enjoy welding. So you guys, if you're following what's going on Instagram and here through the YouTube video, excuse me, Facebook, all that, you know that Ryan's truck is over here on the operating table, and he's been coming over in the evenings, and we have been working on getting it tore apart and taking all the stuff off the truck that the guy had before. So this was a 2-wheel drive truck. It was turned into a 4-wheel drive truck by the previous owner before Ryan got it, and he didn't do a bad job. It's got Cuck V axles underneath it already, and it was 3-linked in the front, 456 gears, not locked in the front, but has a Detroit in the back. So Ryan bought this thing. It's pretty sweet. It needs a little bit of love and has a little bit left to be desired on the welding. So Ryan decided to go ahead and just put it under the knife and start doing things from scratch and getting it all fixed up. So already has a 5.3 in it. It's got a 4L80. It's got a 203, 205 doubler, which is cool. I don't know if he's going to stick with that because it might have an issue, but either way, it's going to be good if he goes with the Magnum or the 203, 205 doubler. So today, getting back to the main thing, I've always heard keep the main thing the main thing. Today I'm going to get the SA200, and I'm going to get it fired up. And we got these brackets from Off-Road Design, of course, on his Dana 60 here, because we're doing the Off-Road Design coilover conversion, the 4-link kit from them. If you guys haven't checked Off-Road Design out, you should. It's kind of a theme around here because they make everything for full-size trucks, full-size rigs, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, and they can make it happen. Whether you want coilovers or you want springs, Off-Road Design's people you want to talk to. Steven and the crew, they got it figured out, man. They got this thing down to an art. So today, Ryan came over, Ryan came over a couple of nights ago, and he got this thing tacked, and we got the level put across the top of this bracket and went over to that bracket, and we got it completely leveled out. So one thing that's really cool about the Off-Road Design kit, guys, is this geometry of this is already figured out for the axle brackets. So these are jigged up and welded, and they're ready to put on. This is not something you have to figure out axle wise what you're going to do geometry wise and how it's fixed to the axle. These bolts right here, this one and this one, go to the stock setup on the Dana 60, so it centers this bracket where it's supposed to be. Then you can go in there and you can weld. See, Ryan already tacked it. You can weld all this stuff in solid. So super exciting. You know, unlike my truck, which I ordered these brackets from Off-Road Design as well for my truck for the Super Duty 60, but they're not made like these. So I had to literally get a brand new box of parts from Off-Road Design, and then I had to start hacking them up over here on the welding table just so I could get it to fit my axle. So guys, don't be afraid to get in there and do it. I told Ryan whenever we started his project, I said I should have named my truck Grinding Dust, because I swear I went through 150 or 200 grinding discs, countless sanding pads, I don't know how many cutoff wheels. It was crazy just to get the Super Duty 60 cleaned up. So I'm thankful that Ryan's is going to be so much easier because these brackets are already ready to go. I mean, he got this axle cleaned up in one evening basically after I cut off the old brackets and the BS that the guy had put on before for the 3-link. So I'm super stoked that I'm going to get in here and I'm going to lay that 7018 with the SA200 down and really burn it in hot. So a key on welding, guys, is when you're doing this type of welding, especially like on axle tubes or diffs, which I'm going to also run some beads on the diff as well. The key is that you weld a little bit in a couple of spots, lay some beads in there, and then go somewhere else and weld. So, you know, I'm gonna start in this bracket over on this side, maybe weld it in a little bit, and then I'm also gonna come over here and I'm gonna kind of jump back and forth. And that's gonna help dissipate the heat and not warp the axle. This SA200 welder, it's a 1960 model. I put a diesel in it, a Kubota diesel, and man, this thing, 7018, you cannot find a better welder to run a 7018. I mean, it just makes you a better welder, and I love welding with it. It's quiet, it works well. This is just one of those things that's just so nice to have, because whenever you need it to really hog in that 7018, burning it hot, that SA200 is where it's at. So I'm going to be doing that, a little bit of that today after I finish up a couple of things on mine. Ryan probably will be over here at some point today, but I like being able to use the weld machine like it's an excuse, because I feel like with welding, it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. There's a lot of things in life like that. So stay on the grind, if you know what I mean, guys. All right, guys, so we're back at it. Got a little bit done. Got some more brackets cut out. Seems like cutting out these little brackets and little pieces take a long time. So I'll show you on this. This is the upper shock mount for the top, so I got a gusset in there, got a piece bringing the shock tabs together, and then also a bracket on the back. Also got the new piece welded in where I accidentally bend it with the bump stop in Moab. So got that done. Then also got these brackets cut for this side, so I can get this welded in. I'm gonna put that right there. Then we got the other piece to go in the front there, so that'll be there. It'll tie that all in. You know, the higher you get up and the more distance you have between, you know, your bolt and your brace, the more gusseting you need, especially whenever these shocks are taking the brunt of the hit. So it's going to give it a little bit more safety, and I'm going to drive the piss out of it. So I got to make sure it ain't going to break. I got some 1/2-inch tabs I welded or cut to go on this back. So that's going to go right there, and that'll actually add a little bit of rigidity. And it's 1/2-inch pieces I had left over, so I was able to use them. It's going to help that shock mount tab out, keep it from moving. So we're already making some progress. This side's going to go here. Got that cut out. That way that will give that some rigidity as well. Once we get that welded in, we'll be good to go. So now we're going to get the old SA200 fired up here in a minute. We're going to open up the door because it gets a little smoky in here, and then we're going to start tearing down. Ryan's got the torch out. He's getting ready to hammer down on it. We used to watch this show back in the day. I say we, me and Ryan both remember it. It was on CMT whenever CMT played real music, right, Ryan? They actually played good stuff like John Anderson, Seminole Wind, and you know, some of the older Tim McGraw stuff, Blake Shelton, Old Red, whenever he actually sang real country. But anyways, long story short, they had a couple of cool shows on. One of them was called Trick My Truck, and it was the guys from Chrome Shop Mafia over there in Joplin, and they always took working guys' trucks, and I loved it because, you know, it seemed like guys that actually deserved to have, you know, their trucks worked on would get their trucks all customized, and, you know, who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they would put into it, but it was part of the show. And anyways, one of the cool intros was there was this guy that probably weighed about 400 pounds with overalls on and a cowboy hat and gloves, and he always had a torch in his hand, and he always said, "Let's tear down." So he'd always end up cutting stuff off, and he was the one that tore everything apart. You didn't ever see him putting stuff back together. There's probably a reason for that, but yeah. But anyways, the guy that was actually tearing it down did a damn good job. So that's what Ryan's doing right now. I'm getting ready to fire up the old SC200 and start laying some 7018 down. Pretty excited about it. This thing just makes you a better welder. Get my bucket full of rods, and we're gonna start going with it. Welding hot and fast, so get these brackets burned in real quick. So here we go. Hey boy, get that hand off that trigger, damn it.
Right.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Yeah.
That's too damn bad. More grinding.
Yeah, exactly.
You know you love it.
Fuck all that. I'm trying to get most of this shit off.
You know you want to do some grinding.
Yeah. My grinder.
Can't be tight if it's liquid. Woo! Gotta love it.
Caleb's welding. There's two reasons that he's doing that, and I'm on this little jewel here. First reason is Caleb's a better welder than me. Second reason is he really loves welding, so why not let him do it? I guess there is a third reason for it, just because he's really dang good at it. So he builds some really strong stuff, probably too strong.
Okay, so you can hear the weld. It's cooling off. So is the axle itself, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but she's burned in pretty hot. Pretty hot, which is what we're looking for. Ooh, that's a sweetie right there. That is a sweetie. Gotta love it. I enjoy welding, so it's just part of it. Hopefully they stay on there. Ryan can cuss me if they don't. That's right. That's what good friends are for.
Got friends like us who need enemies.
Got her inside, got her outside. Peanut butter jelly, you know. So we did pretty good today. A lot of good progress made. The key is the brackets are completely on there and they ain't coming off. And then also we got to get the pumpkin welded up, but got to get to a birthday party, so we're just doing what we can here. Looking great. All in all, pretty good day. Wish I could be welding some more, firing up the SA200, but got to do things you got to do. So here we go. We're going to get started. Keep in touch, guys, and watch out for those guys out there that are trying to sell you junk parts. This is something that's going to be here for a long time. It's a good axle, good setup. Make sure you get good quality parts because it's not going to leave you stranded on the trail. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see you soon.